first off. I appreciate it. Honored that you
it's my
find me to
pleasure.
be successful to have me on a podcast. So,
100%.
But yeah, last year did 100 transactions. Hired my first director of operations. We went from 64 transactions the previous year. When I had made the decision to hire her, we were at 34 transactions, ended with 100, and grew exponentially that year. And then now it's we'll probably double that. So
sales volume, put that in perspective.
Yeah, so we went from about 19 million to just over $30 million in volume.
Okay, that's moving.
Yeah.
And you don't work 24/7, right?
Not anymore.
Okay, fair enough.
I do work a lot, but not that much anymore, no.
You're married, and how many children do you guys have?
Married with 2 kids, 2 little girls, yeah.
Good for you. And then my son, Matthew, he asked me earlier, he said, how old's Matthew? Do you mind me asking how old you are?
No, I'm 35.
35?
Yeah.
Man, okay.
Yeah.
So take us back, because you haven't always been in real estate, right?
No.
So take us back, like your life prior to real estate. Share with us some of your background.
Yeah, so I grew up in Kansas City. And went to a small Christian school called Summit Christian Academy.
Okay.
Played basketball, and I knew that I didn't know what I wanted to do. Everybody else was making decisions for college. I just knew that I was going to play basketball, and so I went and played basketball in college. Played 4 years, then went and played overseas a little bit professionally. Came back. At that point in time, all I knew was basketball. So. I moved around trying to figure out what I wanted to do, jumped around job to job. And as my faith became more real, the more I let go of what I thought my identity was, the more God gave me my identity. And with that, I landed in real estate, found out kind of some of the gifts that God had given me. Mm-hmm. Instead of fighting those, leaned in more into that and said, okay, let's figure out what God wants. Jumped into real estate.
Take us back to what you just said on identity. I almost stopped you there, but you were on a roll. Take us back to what you said about identity.
So for so long, when in first grade, I had a teacher tell my parents that, hey, he has a speech impediment. We don't think he's going to be successful. And then in high school, I was the number 2 or 3 power forward in the state of Missouri. And I had signed to go to UMKC to play basketball, which I don't know why still to this day. And the dean told me, hey, he has a learning disability. We don't think he's going to be a successful student athlete. So at that point in time, I started to believe in a lot of the lies that the enemy had said. But it was one of those things where, hey, I can either let the people around me define who I was, or I could let my creator. But my faith was more my parents' faith at that time. It was never really mine until I started figuring that out, and that became real to me. So didn't mean to make this get too spiritual or faith, but that's my faith is mine, so I'm going to share it.
Man, I appreciate you sharing that. That's one of the things I love about having a podcast channel.
Yeah.
It's like I get to ask whatever I want.
It's
so
yours.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So thank you for going there for us. I feel like we'd be doing a disservice to folks tuning in. By the way, we're here with the live audience. Live audience, would you clap it up for Matthew? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, thank you for going there and sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was next for you then?
Yeah, so from there, moved all around. Thought I wanted to get into ministry full time, vocational ministry. So I moved down to Dallas, Texas to go through Dallas Theological Seminary. I think the night before I got accepted, we found out we were having a baby, and my wife was a teacher, and I was like, I don't think this is going to work out. So she told me she wanted to stay at home, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to have to figure out how to make some money. So I'm just like, you know what, Dave Ramsey was the guy to go to. Let's get out of debt. Let's figure some things out financially. And a guy who poured into me a lot. I was working in hospice. He said, you'll have more impact off the stage than you have on the stage. I don't think you're going to be here long. I think God has something more for you. So let's figure out what this looks like.
Wow.
So started, kind of being discipled under him in business and just kind of figuring out what kind of my strengths were. And had a great time working with him, had a lot of success. We grew to be the fastest hospice, or the largest hospice company in Dallas, and then also one of the largest, I think the 4th largest in the country. COVID happened, and they said, hey, we want you to move to Kansas City. And I was like, I don't know if I really want to do that. I just, I got a second job to work at Domino's so I could save up for a down payment for a house. Bought my first house there, and I was like, I like Dallas. I've always said I wanted to live in Texas. Something about Texas pride, and So then they moved us back, and I was like, you can't get in the hospitals here. It's wide open down there. Here, it's closed off. And as I'm praying with God, like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's a great opportunity, but I'm just not being fulfilled because I'm not having the success I feel like I should be having. I felt like I was stealing from the company just because I wasn't doing as well as I was in Dallas, as I was in Kansas City. Start listening to podcasts and watching YouTube. And I told my wife, you should get into real estate. So she got a real estate license first.
You said that to her?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she got a real estate license, and about 7-8 months into it, she hadn't sold anything.
Okay.
But I'm watching all the videos, telling her what to do, trying to coach her. But you know, it's your spouse. You don't want to really hear from him if you're not even licensed. So like, she did the hard part, taking the test.
Sure.
So I said, you know, whoever sells something first gets to stay. I'm going to get my license. You got the head start. So I'm into the seat and she's not. So I sold something first and got to stay. But she supported me to say, hey, you can go do it. And I haven't looked back ever since.
So you had a mentor. It sounds like that relationship was impactful, and that was back in Dallas.
Yes.
Tell us more about that.
Yeah. So I just saw a guy, and what I think is very valuable, and as being a young man, is finding guys who you can trust and who you can emulate. Like, in the Word it says, "Follow me as I follow Christ." And I saw a guy who had a great family, loved his wife, his kids loved him. They still wanted to be around him, even though they were off in college. They would come home, and like, they had friends. They weren't weird, but they just wanted to come and be around parents. Sure. So I saw they made an impact. I saw he had a business that he grew, and I saw his faith was real. And I saw he wanted to disciple men. So something where I said, you know what? That's something I want to emulate. How do I do it? So I just walked to his office one day and said, hey, here's where I'm at. Here's what's going on. And we had met twice before that. And he gave me a job. And I said, I want what you have. And not trying to be in a prideful way, but more of like an honoring of like, hey, here's what I see that God's done in your life. How did you do it? And he took me under his wing for about 2 years, and showed me, let me sit in meetings that I would probably never be at. Coached me on how to have conversations, how to sell. Hey, what does it look like to grow in success, but also love your wife and love your family? And those were important lessons that I learned. Yeah.
Man, good job being coachable.
Yeah.
That says a lot about you. Not everybody has an attitude of being open to learning and the open idea of posturing themselves intentionally to be partnered up to intentionally learn from someone.
Well, I hate that saying that, people say self-made. No one's ever self-made.
Right.
They sit on the backs of somebody's shoulders.
Yeah,
like, someone sacrificed for them to get to the next spot, even if they acknowledge it or not.
Yeah.
I have great parents. My parents, they sacrificed for me. But I think that's one of the things of, generations. You might not be the one to get to bask in that success and, have those nice things, but that next generation gets to. And my parents, they gave me the gospel and they gave me a good work ethic.
Wow.
So now my job is to take it a step further.
Yeah.
Me and my wife were just talking about this the other day. We're like, if we looked at the lifestyle our kids have to compare where we were, would we say they're spoiled? I was like, yeah, but that's my job. Now, I don't want to be spoiled brats, but I want them to have something different than I do.
Yeah.
So
that's so good.
Yeah.
I heard there's a gentleman I listened to, I would say is a mentor of mine, Myron Golden.
Oh, yeah.
And he mentions that, where did this idea come up with that with our kids, they need to start from ground zero in life in order to appreciate things and to build from nothing.
Yeah.
He's like, that is ridiculous, and it's not biblical.
No.
So I love that, it sounds like your parents laid a foundation, and you just keep raising that bar for your children now. And I love that you and your wife are having those conversations, it sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you had a mentor out in Dallas. You had the idea for your wife to get in real estate, and yet fast forward, you're in Kansas City, and you're the one in real estate now.
Yeah.
So what was next for you?
Yeah, so I remember listening to a sermon by Tony Evans, and I was about to go in and give my 2 weeks notice.
Okay.
And I was in the parking lot, and I don't know, I bought some CDs. I don't even know why, because CDs still it was 2021, so you're not listening to CDs.
Right.
But somehow I was listening to a CD, and it was talking about burning your boat, following what God has for you. And at that time, I was like, okay, what do I do? Do I stay in this? Do I not? And he says, Vikings, when they get off a ship and to go to war, they would burn the boat. They had one mission to go do, accomplish that mission. They weren't returning home until that mission was accomplished. And at that point in time, I was like, man, God, I feel like he gave me the confidence to step out and do it. I had no idea what I was doing, but I was like, let's do it. So that day I went to go walk in to give my 2 weeks notice or return my laptop, and they had no idea that was going to happen. But so the guy in Dallas, he's like, do whatever you need to do. I support you. I will never forget this, but I'm putting my hand on the door to open it to give my 2 weeks notice to walk to the office. My phone rings, and I get a guy who calls me and says, I have 5 listings for you. Heard you were getting into real estate. And I was like, all right, cool. Let's do this.
Wow.
I have no idea what's a listing.
Yeah.
I just know I took a test, and now I can sell houses. I said, we'll figure it out. We'll do it. And he had told me at Christmas time, this was March, he had told me at Christmas time, I probably won't use you for at least 4 or 5 years because new agents have no idea what they're doing. I was like, fair, but you'll use me sooner than that. In my mind, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And he did. So we did that, got a few of those under contract, sold those. It was COVID, so you could put a dollhouse on the market, it would sell.
Sure.
I got I think it was a $6 million apartment complex in downtown Lee Summit. That was my 5th deal ever. And then from there, I was like, okay, this is one of those instant successes, flash in the pan. I don't want to be that. How do I last? So then I started, hey, how do I figure out how to actually grow a business, be a guy who can provide value to clients, even though I'm new? And figure out what does it look like to last and to stay, and to build a business that doesn't revolve around paying for leads or all these other things, but that can be reciprocal to the season of whatever's going on in real estate or a war or whatever. But how do I build relationships? And that's what I did.
So with that transitional period, like you were in between, you put in your 2 weeks notice. You had the 5 listings. What would you say out there to somebody that senses that they're in a transitional period, meaning the thing that they've been doing so long, it no longer feels like that's what they need to keep doing? Like there's an internal shift. That's what it's felt like for me before. What would you say to the person that feels like they're interested in starting a business or they're in that transitional period?
Yeah, I think a lot of times, we overthink a lot of things.
Yeah.
I think there's a few things that, can I be consistent? That's one of the things. Do I have the mindset to do it? Not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur. There's one thing to be able to say, hey, I can go get an LLC. Anybody can do that.
Sure.
But the days and the nights of okay, I have payroll, I have different things I have to do. Can this be something that can provide for my family? And do I have the confidence to go step out and do it? A lot of people won't take action because they, paralysis by analysis. They look at it 80 different ways, but it's hey, the simplest way is just starting, taking that next step. But I think you have to look and say, okay, can I provide one? Because you have to put food on your table.
Right.
And then, hey, do I have the confidence to continue this for how long can I continue it? So I think trying. I had 6 jobs in 4 years. Okay. That was terrible. Nothing I want to brag about, but you know what? I was going to be willing to try it and see what happened.
You weren't afraid to try?
No, because I found out what I could do. And then I found out, okay, yes, I'm pretty good at this. God gave me some gifts, and let's go walk in it. And I think that's another thing, figuring out what you're good at. You don't want to be the round or the square peg in a round hole. Yeah. Figure out what your gifts are, and then go and step out in those gifts, because that's so much easier to work out your strengths than your weaknesses.
Yeah, that's so true. What would be your recommendation? Share some, if a listener out there is wondering, okay, how do I figure out what I'm good at? What's your advice on that one?
I think I think so many people don't ask trusted people for criticism. And I think asking, hey, what am I good at? What do you see in me? And being okay if you don't agree with that, but that's what that person sees in you, because sometimes we can't see it in ourselves. We look in the mirror every day, but sometimes we don't see what we need to see to help us get better. Yeah. And I ask a lot of trusted people okay, how can I get better? Hey, do you see any gaps in my life that don't add up? Hey, what do I need to do in order to be able to be the man that I say I want to be? So I think a lot of it starts there, but then also, there's a lot of tests you can take out there, personality tests, find the things you like and love. I think it's funny that saying, find something you love and you'll never work a day in your life. I don't believe that's true. It's still work. Right. It's just some work you might like a little bit more. Yeah. But at the same time, you have to find that thing of what you like, what you love. I'm going to be up late at night working, I might put in, 10, 12-hour days in a row. Okay, great. You're not looking forward to the weekend. You're looking forward to, hey, who's the next person I can help? And that might be a little bit of inconvenience, but you find out who you are and what you like, and therefore you can step into that. So
you're coachable. You seek out mentors. You're open to feedback. I'm learning quite a bit about you.
Yeah. That's how you grow. That's how you grow.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, that's one of those things where, I'm looking at this tree thing across the street, and my friend Chris and I I'll have to share it with you, is a good 5 or 6 minute podcast, and it was talking about growth. And side note, I've been thinking a lot about growth when just because it's easy to post something on Facebook, and you don't get to we hear these things, your business grows to the extent that you do, and it's easy to nod and say I'm open to growth, and yet part of growth is painful.
Absolutely.
I was thinking about with like new life, everything, it's amazing. We live on 5 acres, and we could look outside and it's like everything's dead. And then one day I look outside again and everything's alive. Now, obviously there was a process there, but in order for something to grow, something has to die.
Absolutely.
And there's a painful part of growth.
Yeah.
Would you speak to when we hear of you launching your business, was there any growing pains that you usually don't talk about?
Oh, yeah, but I don't mind talking about them because at the end of the day, it's a lesson.
Yeah.
And hopefully it keeps someone else from having to go through the same thing. There's a lot of growing pains. Like I look at it when that was 5 years ago, 30 years old. I feel like, I was a boy and a lot of having to grow up. And you hear a lot of those things of being coachable. Some people say, hey, don't chase the money, don't do these things. And it sounds really good because the person who's saying it might have money. And when you don't have two pennies rubbed together and you're in debt, you're like, I got to make money to put food on the table. Credit cards companies calling me, I got to pay for this.
Yeah.
And I'll say this was almost 2 years ago. I had the best year ever until last year, made the most money I'd ever made. Thought, man, okay, when I accomplish this goal, when I make this money, when I have this car, have this house, that's going to be, I'm on top of it. And my CPA is sitting over there, so I don't want to get too much information to her, but it probably will help me. But I woke up, it was December 10th, and I woke up and I was in tears. And I was like, it feels empty. Like I accomplished everything I wanted to do. People said you're successful, and I heard the noise, and it was like, man, that was great. But I had relationships that were falling apart. It was coming up on January 1. I'm like, man, I got to do this all over again. I just worked my tail off. How am I going to do this again? And I said, okay, I have to grow. There's some things I have to change. It has to be more than that stuff, which was great. They accomplished the goals, and I accomplished the goals, so I was able to buy the things I wanted to do. I was able to do those things. But then I saw more about the relationships. I saw more about the memories of, why am I working 12-hour days when I could hire somebody and do something different? Hey, why am I going after these things when you accomplish them and you get it, it means nothing. Like I made a goal to buy a watch. I got the watch and I was like, I think I wore it 2 times, put it back in the box, and it was like, this is nothing for me. So I saw that it meant nothing. I look at Solomon. He said, basically, if you go to the old King James version, he says, vanity is vanity, so nothing is nothing. So nothing, it's nothing. And like your life is a vapor, so it lasts like this long. And one thing that I saw is that I wanted to make an impact on people's lives. And that's what God, I asked him, hey, why am I on this earth? And the more and more I kept praying about it and reading and being in his word, the more I saw I want to make an impact and have influence on people. So, hey, if you give me a platform to sell a lot of houses, that's great. But at the end of the day, what was going to be the growth? My growth was going to be, hey, how am I leading myself? Not many people are going to want to talk to you if you're, a guy told me this, asking for feedback. You're a slob, you're overweight, you don't take care of your body. That sounds really superficial. But your appearance is the first thing before people hear what comes out of your mouth. So, okay, let's get in shape. Okay, great. How do you handle hard conversations? Do you have those? Will you have those? Hey, when it comes to being a leader, are you willing to give up some of your rights? As you grow in leadership, as you grow in success, you give up more of your rights. I can't just go post anything on Facebook because you know what? People are looking at me for either advice, either to buy a house, which doesn't mean as much to me, but more, hey, if I get a phone call from someone who says, hey, I'm having a rough day, so-and-so just this happened, what would you do? Those are the type of calls I want to be there for, and that people look at me enough to say, you know what, I want to hear what he has to say.
Man, that's so good.
So growing in that, those are the hard things I had to learn, that, hey, this is just a platform to be able to do really what I want to do.
Wow.
So
what kind of impact do you want to make?
It's a great question. I love young men, and I love men who are coming out of prison. So one of the things I want to do is buy a lot of homes to be able to put men who are coming out into homes to where they have a place to live. A lot of times, a lot of men who come out of prison go back to prison because they don't have a job or they don't have a solid place to live and influence. So how do I start companies and grow big enough to be able to employ those men and have a place for them to live, but also help that rehabilitation process? Because I don't think our prisons do that well, because I think it's hard to do without the Word of God.
Right.
So how do I do that?
Wow. Have you ever shared that before publicly?
Some.
Have you? Okay, good for you. I've never heard you share that before.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So
what was next then?
What do you mean?
That's a good question, because we've covered some ground. Okay, we talked about growth is painful. We talked about the mentor in Dallas, the transition. Where we left off is you got in real estate. You had the guy call you that you didn't know. It sounds like from this area with the apartment complex. I think that's ballpark where we left off on that loop.
So from there, that was my first year. I think we did 24, 25 transactions. Then we went 30, 40, 60, and then 100. And the more and more I did that, the more and more I thought, you know what, I can do this myself. But that's where I said, you know what, I need to take a step back in order to be able to grow more. And at that same time, that's where I said, hey, I'm going to help more people, but I can't do that by myself. So I hired my first assistant. That was great. And we grew. I think now if we go to when she started to where we're at now, I think it's growth by about 200%, somewhere around there, which sounds crazy. I think we'll end up with about almost 200 transactions this year because of that growth, because of hiring somebody. I think I got into investing in real estate and properties, things like that. And those are things that help my business continue to grow. But now I'm trying to figure out what's next. So I'm a glutton for punishment, so I'm currently trying to buy an HVAC company. So those are things that, what do I do next? Skilled trades, those are great for men who want to work with their hands and are coming out of prison who maybe have felonies to be able to give them an opportunity. So trying to put my money where my mouth is. So
the HVAC business could help employ the desired people you want to help.
Correct, 100%.
Connecting the dots. Wow. What else would you like to share with us?
I stumped them.
What's something that somebody's never asked you before that you desire to share?
I'm pretty much an open book.
Yeah, one thing, I appreciate that about you.
One thing, there's no reason to gatekeep. Especially in the world of AI. Like, why gatekeep something when you can jump the fence?
What's gatekeep mean?
That means like, hey, everything I know, I'm not willing to share. I'm gonna keep it around inside the gate, and that's my knowledge, and I'm too scared to give it to somebody else. The way I look at it as like, my grandmother, she made this caramel cake that was the best thing out there. And it was for my birthday. And when she passed away, my sister tried making it. And they had the same recipe. And hopefully she doesn't see this. It wasn't that good.
I can tell where this is going by the face you're making.
It wasn't that good. But here's the thing. You can give someone the same recipe. But they won't know exactly how to make it. She eyeballed it. She knew exactly how much to put in there, a pinch of this, a pinch of that, a cup of this. That's great. I can give you everything I know. Doesn't mean you're gonna do the same. God gave me something that's different than what He gave you.
That's so true.
Let them go and do their thing. Give them everything they can. If they succeed, clap for them. Keep going. What's meant for them is meant for them. What's meant for me is what's God meant for me.
That's
so
right.
let me just go walk in that and be confident in that. So
and that's really an abundance mindset. God put us in a garden, not a bakery.
Oh, that's good.
Bakery, but that's Myron Golden, right, my mentor. The concept is that with a bakery, if I eat a donut, there's one less donut for you to eat, right? God put us in a garden where consumption equals production. You consume an apple or whatever, it falls, the seeds, and then it grows more.
That's true.
Solid principle. One of the things that I learned about you when I heard you speak in Lee Summit at the gentleman who has the lending business.
Ashley.
There we go. Thank you. Is that you've built your business in a manner that's not paying for online ads. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that intrigued me. So tell us more about the client acquisition part for the business owners out there or aspiring business owners, because somebody could have a great product or service, but if they don't have anybody that's interested, I mean, there's no business at that point.
I think that's the big thing is people have to know what you do. And how do you get that to the masses? Like when I first got into real estate, everybody had said, hey, you got to get in there and start calling people.
Just cold calling?
Cold calling people, put your sphere of influence, 200 people in contacts and call. And that, I was like, if I have to do that, I'm not going to be able to make this happen. So I said, hey, there's a story to tell. How do I provide value and exceptional value? And how do I get that to as many people as possible and as fast as possible? And it was the power of social media. Gary Vee had said something of, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to start. And that's where I started. I remember making my first video, and it was, I look back, it was terrible. It's one of those grainy videos. Don't have a mic, it's echoey. It's not like this. But I started. And now 100% of my business is from social media and referrals. And I heard someone today, literally as I'm listening to get ready to coach somebody, they're like, you can't build a business off of strictly referrals. It'll just be a business that it doesn't grow. And I'm like, ha, that's funny, because that's how I've done it. So I think for a lot of people, the principle is, one, letting people know you do it, and then now, learn how to do it and look good doing it. And that doesn't mean like, hey, put on the fancy clothes, things like that. It just means, hey, take time to have a clear camera. Take time to have great audio. People will actually forgive you for how it looks rather than how it sounds.
So true.
So make sure you do it well, because that is the doorstep. That's the doorstep before they step into your business. So many people now, they go to social media before they actually go to even Google. Like TikTok, we were in Atlanta, and my assistant was looking at places to eat from TikTok. And I'm like, what's the Google review say? She's like, we don't do that anymore. I'm like, oh, my bad. Okay. Wow. So seriously, now clients call me and say, hey, I saw your Instagram. I saw this. I've been following you on this. And now, hey, I would love to meet with you. Had a client flying from out of town who did that the other day. I only met with him 3 times. Or I met him 3 times and had one conversation with him. And it all started from social media. So you don't have to be a pro.
Yeah.
Just be consistent and just be able to put something on there that people can see and that has value. And from there, when you have that and you get the trust, then people start calling you and are attracted to your business because they know you. People work with people they like, know, and trust, right?
That's so true.
It's the same for any industry.
Yeah. That's good. So if somebody feels overwhelmed and doesn't even know where to start with all the different platforms and all the technology, what would your recommendation be?
First, I will say that's an excuse.
Okay.
Because now we have ChatGPT, you had Claude, you have Perplexity.
Right.
You can hey, what is your business? Who are you? What's your personality? And some people are like, that's too much information for them to know about me. Who's them? They already know you. So really, let's just go ahead and put that in there and ask for, hey, I'm going to do a 10-day game plan of what should I post? And then take it a step further. Give me a script for each post. And from there, you can change that to who you are, make it sound like you, and you can put a teleprompter up behind you, and you can have a conversation.
Man, that's solid.
That's the easiest way to do it. You don't have to overthink it. Like, well, you just said something here. It's like when you overthink it, that's where you stop.
Yeah.
Don't make it difficult. Make it easy to something you can do every day.
Man, that's solid. That's some good advice right there. So other than online, what else would you recommend to somebody that's either looking to relaunch their business or start a business?
It all comes to relationships. Like when I don't have any idea of what an HVAC company does. Well, I know what they do, but I don't know how. You couldn't tell me the flux capacitor to changing the air filter. Like I look at my air filter and I look at the arrow says this way and flow. I take a picture and I'm like, okay, it says turn it this way. All right, but you know what I know? I know relationships. So here's what, like when I first got into real estate, I wrote down the 20 most important people that I probably should have a conversation with and let them know I'm in real estate. So, hey, well, how can I strategically leverage that relationship and say, okay, hey, here's what I'm doing. Would you be able to support me in this? If you think of somebody, can you help me with this? Start there. You know, and then also don't be afraid to ask that person who is doing it better than you are. Because another thing I did, I asked the top 10 realtors in Kansas City and asked them, hey, can I take you to lunch or pay you $1,000 for your time? And you know, I think I met with 3 or 4 of them. And some asked me for the $1,000 and I gladly paid them. The rest were like, I'll pay for your lunch because you sat down and asked me that question. And hey, till this day, I'm super thankful for them because they gave me some great advice. So I think the one thing is relationships, because right now there's enough people and a multiplication of what happens is word of mouth. That's the cheapest, easiest way to do it. How long do you want to stay in that? You can choose to spend more money to get more ads, things like that. But your best lead, your best sale and cheapest sale is going to be the relationship you have. So how can I provide value to help that person?
What about somebody moves to a new city and they're like, I don't know anybody here?
before they can get on social media. Because here's the thing, I can get in front of 10,000 people in 2 days, or I can get in front of 50,000 people, depends if it goes viral or not, in a few hours. And that's going to be something that helps you grow. But I think that starts there. But then also look at the places where you do life. Like most of the time, businesses grow from that relationship that they did or they have from their kid playing baseball at the ball field, and they start talking about what they do. And the next thing you know, you're able to provide value, or they have a need, and you're able to meet that need or connect people. Being a connector. So it's, you getting to know people at your local church, at the coffee shop you go to. Like at the end of the day, it's all relationships. Even if you go to a new place, where are you going to be connected at? Humans aren't meant to do life alone.
Right.
So if you're any type of outgoing or, and you want to be an entrepreneur, most people are, then they're going to go to people. So then how do you meet those people's needs?
Man, that's solid.
Yeah.
Concluding thoughts. Who are you learning from right now? Share with us the latest book or podcast channel that you've read, or podcast you've listened to, book you read. Who are you being influenced by right now?
Man, there's Dan Martell.
Okay.
I really like him. He's the reason why I hired my first assistant. Was he had a book, Dan Martell, Buy Back Your Time, that really made me see that it's not a me, it's a we.
Okay.
And hey, sometimes you might have to slow down a little bit before you can launch. And like I was flipping 20 houses the year before I brought on my assistant. I flipped 8 last year, and this year we'll do about 35. And I wouldn't be able to do that by myself.
You fix them up yourself?
Huh?
You fix it? I can already tell by your answer.
My hands, they're soft.
Man.
Yeah, they're not,
okay.
No, I'm not doing that. But no, so Dan Martell, I for some reason, I really like him.
Yeah.
Dave Ramsey, I love tough love.
Okay.
And he'll tell it to you straight.
Yeah.
You're either good at it or you're not. Don't sugarcoat it with me. Let me know if I'm doing good or if I'm doing bad. So I love his Entree Leadership podcast, where it just talks about business owners and how to grow. He's been very, very good. I can't remember the name. I remember the name of the book, Go Giver. But I can't remember the author. But that's more about giving. And now as I getting these questions of, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? How do I do that? And how do I do it lovingly and kindly? And how do I say no lovingly and kindly?
Yeah.
So it's just learning how to be very generous and be generous with my time, my treasures and talents.
Right
so learning to do that. So those are the people I'm really learning from right now.
Man.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matthew.
No, thank you. Appreciate
you
it.
sharing, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's get up for Matthew. Man.
Thank you.